and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And today I made a really cool bracelet. Um, I didn't hit record when I set up the strings on the right hand side. I don't know, I got excited and got ahead of myself. But fortunately, I realized my mistake and at least got it for the left hand side. So you can see I'm just kind of looping over the two strands for each one of the colors that will be in it. This way it just gets it a really nice clean start is all. So yeah, this bracelet, I really like it. It took a while. This took me just over 2 hours to make the bracelet itself, but I mean, it's more strings, right? So that's sort of right. It's a 22 string bracelet. How you guys typically count? It's 11 going into the kumi, which, by the way, Mandy found a way of making the kumi turn out really excellent. That was a video short a while back. So, yeah, if you want to see how that is, go check that out. Um, but the bracelet itself is pretty darn cool. It Okay, so it took a while, right? But this is again one of those cases where it doesn't feel so long because the pattern it has just like three main repetitions in it and like this little beginning at the, and the little bit at the end, which are a little bit different. Well, they're the same thing. It's just a partial, right? And the thing about those partials is the fact that the two of those together would not make one full segment. So they're all about trying to make it balanced and even and really nice, which is, to me, that's, you should know by now. If you haven't watched my videos, I have this thing about this creating a sense of symmetry in your bracelet. I think it makes it look way more planned in advance. It makes it look like you thought it through. And I think it's a difference between, some of the bracelets that I've made and some of the other bracelets that are out there where you see it just kind of started off really cool and then ends weird. Like to me, that's just like you didn't think it through. You didn't put in the work beforehand. And I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are still very proud of the work that went into their bracelet because the bracelets is still a nice bit of workmanship. But this is that taking it to another level thing. This is where, you know, it really shows the effort involved. So, and mind you, it's my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I can take it. But I honestly believe that there's when you get to that extra thing where you're making the loops fancy, where you're making the whole edges where it starts, you're making that a nice smooth edge instead of just letting the strings sort of come down and get worked into their order and stuff. Like when I first learned, nobody had shown me about getting those edges really nice and clean and how you can loop one over the rest of the others. And so the strings just sort of came down to wherever they first got used. And I would try to get the knot really good and tight so that way it was less visible. Well, as little visible as possible, but it was still sort of there, and those strings still sort of get caught on stuff and destroys the bracelet faster. And once once I had seen a bracelet where the edge was smooth, I pretty much figured out what they were doing and was like, that's going to be my new thing. It takes that to a new level, and I want to be at that level. I want to be at the level where, the stuff that I generate is as cool as I could make it. As, the edges are as nice as they can be, the knots are as even as possible. These are things to aspire to. So, um, you will see that I tried really hard to find ways to segment this thing and make it as easy as possible on myself. Um, I think I changed strategies a little bit here and there, but for the most part, the way I went at it is pretty straightforward. Um, the only thing is, I was pretty distracted while doing this. I knew this was going to take a while. I still had a couple episodes to catch up on of One Piece. So that's what I was doing while making this. So despite the fact that it took me a little more than 2 hours, um, maybe it would have been faster if I had been just focused on this and not the amazing anime series that's going on. So it is what it is. I don't know. I I had a good time, so I think that's what kind of matters to me a lot. So yeah, um, yeah, yeah. I kind of, if you notice, the whole thing kind of shifted over a little bit. I think some point here, I kind of realized like, why is this so off center? Like that's so weird. Um, I think I move it over a little bit later on as well because I like it's I don't watch the camera so much. I'm focused on doing the knots and maybe watching the show or whatever. Um I don't necessarily look over to make sure that I'm like centered in frame. I should probably do that, right? Like that's probably taking it to the next level. That's probably the more professional thing to do. So I do need to work on that. Um so yeah, this is really neat. I do like it. It's a chunky bracelet. But it's kind of a I don't think the video picks up these kind of colors very well. It's a kind of a pinkish purple. I don't know what you call that, but it's like a very bright sort of a purple. I wonder if this camera can pick it up better. Yeah, cameras just struggle. Like I noticed there's certain flowers that have this kind of color, and like every time I've tried to photograph them, it's like the camera's just like, nope, don't want. I don't know. It's just a thing. Um, So yeah, because this was a much longer video, I did actually speed this up. This is the 5 times speed. And even with that, it still makes it a pretty long video, right? This is what? Um, it doesn't tell me now. That's funny. Like 26 minutes. I'm trying to do the math. It tells me how much has already gone by and how much is left. So I'm trying to do the math in my head, which I can tell you guys, I'm for a guy who can put together bags and figure out all these kind of like combinations and how to sort out things and whatever. I am absolutely terrible at math. I can, if you give me paper and a calculator, I can work out and make all kinds of crazy stuff. I can show you how to make a bag with an envelope flap or a triangular flap or whatever. Oh, I had one where it's like a bracelet that comes over the top to latch to the other side. All kinds of stuff. But to tell you a times table or something, yeah, forget it. I'm nope. I am calculator all the way. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's part of the ADHD part of the brain, if it was um like I had a fever, like a really, really, really high fever when I was young. I don't know if that like damaged something. I don't know. I really can't do it though, guys. Yeah, there it goes. So now it shifted it a bit more. It's almost center. So yeah, I'm terrible, terrible at math. Um, so what else can I tell you about this? Honestly, you just need colors of contrast. Like I was gonna go with the dark blue version, um, but then I kind of saw this purple was next to the yellow in the airplane trolley, and it just kind of hit me funny, and I'm like, okay, but I need the blue, the bright blue or whatever in the other pattern, like how does that kind of fit into it? And when I pulled this particular blue and put it alongside of these other ones, I was just like, oh, that actually does provide the kind of pop that kind of was the thing that kind of drew me in the first place. And yeah, I kind of like that. This is I need to do a video about this. There is a good reason to have your colors mixed up, right? And I know like a lot of people love and they're going to hate me for what I'm about to say, but there's a lot of people who really love making their colors really like organized, like what you would see in the store, right? All the reds are together, all the blues are together. It's all nicely laid out, where it just kind of flows. But when you do that, you take away from the kind of inspirations that you would get by having them kind of just thrown about. I mean, I don't really throw it about. They're all carefully placed in there because the more you handle your floss, the more likely when you go to stretch it out and to measure it for the cutting it and to use it, the more you've handled it, the more likely it's going to get tangled and then knotted when you're pulling it apart like that, right? So, but I let all the colors just kind of be in there sort of willy-nilly. And as a result, I will see things that strike me as interesting, fun color combinations that I might not have noticed or thought of otherwise. I mean, a lot of my patterns do come from going out. I try to go out like once a week, head down to the city. I look in stores. I see what kind of new handbags different makers are doing, what kind of colors they're playing with. Because that's how you kind of stay current with the colors, right? Like some of the big brand labels pay somebody exorbitant amounts of money to say, we want fresh new colors. We don't want our bags to look like they came from the 70s or the 80s. What does today's colors look like? And so all you have to do to tap in on that is to look around you in those kind of shops, in those kind of places, and you will most likely find some kind of inspiration of cool colors that are going to go well together, that are going to, be exciting. So that's another way. Like instead of just you yourself with your own materials trying to get inspiration, there's all kinds of stuff out there. It's a lot of fun. It's what I do. Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's other methods. Um, I saw there's like an AI thing. Um, it wasn't cheap though. It was like $20 a month to give you color, not swatches, but give you sell it. It was like, um, you tell it what kind of company you are or what kind of whatever it is. You tell it the thing, and then the AI and you tell it like the number of colors, and it's supposed to be like the colors that you would use in your website. Like you keep your website down to these 5 or 6 colors, and that becomes your branding. That's your thing. Like, with Facebook, you're right. It's the blue of the logo and the white. That's their branding. They kind of stick with that. They kind of limit the number of other stuff in there. So like there's a thing for that, but I can't imagine paying $20 a month to come up with color ideas. I mean, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you're like $20 a cheap price to find, amazing color combinations that it doesn't. I can be inspired by seasons. I can be inspired by shopping experiences. There's like so much around me all the time that makes me think hey, I'd like to try that, you know? So I don't know. Like I said, I should do a video about color choosing and stuff because obviously I'm very opinionated about these things, and I can show you guys some stuff. So I think I think we're like at the halfway point of the bracelet here. Like coming out the other side of that whatever. It's like a diamond shape inside of like a hashtag inside of a diamond, right? So yeah, like once we cross that middle part, it's we're past the halfway. So yeah, I'll be happy to get this over into the shop. I think this is way cool. I actually I think I know a couple people who would really like this. There's some friends of mine who are big fans of like purpley colors, so we'll see what happens with that. Because there's so many strings, like the tassel part is really thick. So I got a feeling like the bracelet like this is probably going to last a really really long time because like the places where a bracelet typically wears out is either at the loop or in the tassels, and because there's so many more strings, it's just going to hold that much longer. So this is this is a pretty cool long lasting sort of thing. You just have to appreciate a big bracelet. It's Do I have a ruler? I Why do I not have a ruler? Oh, I do. Do 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 do. Trying to find where the zero side is. It's clear, so it makes it really hard to see. It's it's a little bit more than 3.5 centimeters, which is there's actually an inches thing on here. So let's see what this says. 1, 2 inch and 3/8. So yeah, it's a chunky one. Oh, I should thank my Patreon supporters for making this possible because I can't just buy all the string that I need for these tutorials with my good looks, which obviously wouldn't even get me any string at all. Now I'm sad. But my Patreon supporters make me very happy and make me excited to actually do these projects. So thank you guys very, very much for that. Um, I I really actually do enjoy making these videos. I recently saw a thing that was saying if you received whatever subsidies that made it so that way you could, have a roof over your head, have food on the table, maybe even a little bit of money left over to go catch a movie periodically, what would you do with your life? And that was just this really interesting sort of thought experiment. And I gave it a little bit of thought, and I realized that um, I would still want to do this. I would want to challenge myself with new designs. I would want to share what I learned in making those designs with you guys. Um, this is where I want to be. So the fact that there are people out there who try to help make that a reality for me, I really I do appreciate it more than I can say. So thank you very much, guys. I just had another thought. If you go back and watch the making of the pattern to this and you look really closely at the photograph, I realized I did something off, different. In those spaces that you see that are there on the right and left hand side, where like the yellows are making up inside of the darker color, which in this case is sort of purple, those corners at the very middle of it on the far edges were supposed to be white. And it's really easy to switch these two around if you want to go the other way with it. But in the original, those little, like, I don't know if I can, like right there at the very edge, that little spot was white as opposed to the gold. And I'm not sure when it hit me, um, but at some point, I suddenly noticed the difference. I think I was looking at making the thumbnail for the video that we're actually watching right now. And I saw from the photo, and I'm like, wait a second, there's white, right? Oh, and I kind of went back, looked at the patterns, but I still like it my way. Honestly, this is one of those cases where, sure, I changed it. Um, is it a radical change? No. Is it an interesting change? Yeah, kinda. I mean, it's not. I'm. I don't. Well, I suppose if you put the two side by side, if you made the bracelets with the same exact colors, right, and you put them both side by side, and you ask somebody what's the difference, they would do that thing like in the games where spot the difference games, and it wouldn't probably take them all that long. But if you like showed it to them and then took it away and then showed them the other one and took it away and asked, okay, what was the difference? I don't think anybody would tell you. I think they'd be like, that was the same. What are you talking about? Because it's really just a subtle thing. So it's a preference thing. Um, I was halfway tempted in remaking out the pattern, like make a second pattern of it, just with the change between, the things. Um, but I kind of feel like this is a pretty intermediate bracelet to begin with, right? That if you can make this bracelet, you can probably figure out how to change up and put the white in that little space instead of the yellow, if that's really what your intention is. So there's probably no need for me to redo out the pattern. If I'm wrong, let me know. Tell me, please go back to your website, put in, the other versions so I can see. And I'll do it because, yeah, I would do it. Um, I just really don't think it's necessary. I really honestly don't think. I don't know. You guys let me know. I'll I'll listen to you guys. You guys really do share a lot of like cool stuff with me and get me motivated and get me thinking about things, and I do appreciate that. I really do. The comments really do mean a lot to me, so thank you. Um, what else? There's not a lot I can say about this. Um, well, I can tell you that if you do make this and you want to share that with me, you can like tag me on Instagram. You can drop it off in our Discord server. Um, However you want to do that, that would be awesome. Because I do like to see what you guys make, and I like to see that I've inspired people. So if you make it, cool. Let us see it. I have been known to share a user's photo over on the website along with where the patterns and all that kind of stuff is. So if you're into that, and I could do that for you. We could, you know, put it over there because that's always fun, especially if you do different colors. Like if you make it the same exact thing, and I've already got a picture looks exactly like yours, that kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it. But if you come up with a different color combination or something, it makes it even like, wow, there's something else to try. That would be really super cool. So just some random thoughts there. Yep, we're getting near the end. This is this is the last little bits here. So if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. And, you know, maybe give the video a thumbs up. I mean, you've hung out this long. So just hit that like button. That would be awesome. And yeah. Getting really close to the big reveal. Like, there's just this little tiny diamond right at the very end there. Yeah. And then the gold finishes up. So, all right, guys, thanks a whole bunch. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.